uh one person is gonna go. Whoops, wrong. Oh, we just we uh we hit 53 subs. Let's go. I get
Heyo.
two new subs today. That's awesome. Yeah, two people apparently are waiting. It should be live now, but sometimes there's a little bit of a delay from when I started on my end and when people can actually see it. Looks like
Gotcha.
Facebook is working. Um, as soon as someone types in chat, I'll know if they're able to see us or not. Started. Check. Pull up Facebook quick. This. Uh, deal with spam emails later.
No. Bro, you getting that Windows 11?
you, you know, I'm considering it. Like I have the free upgrade on my computer right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I've heard slightly more cons than pros, so I haven't decided yet. I mean, nothing is like so unbelievably bad to prevent me from actually upgrading. Like I'm going to at some point. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm just like I'm kind of a nerd, and I have some games on my system that are really old, and I have to do certain amounts of like jimmying and like coming up with tricks in order to get them to work on modern systems. And I don't know if a new operating system is gonna make them like break again.
Yeah,
They're
that's
just kind of
fair.
old now. Yeah. So we go to pages and go to live and should yes. Awesome. Double check. Sweet. Okay, so it's probably gonna be a minute. This is not like my normal schedule, so it's and there's probably only gonna be like two or three people that pop in anyway, so we're just kind of
Oh yeah.
hanging out, no stress or anything. But I have. Oh, I want to close this for sure. We're not video editing, streaming.
Yeah. That would that would be a great multitask.
I have thought about doing streams before where I just like I'm editing, but the reality is I'm not going to get any work done. I'm just going to be talking the whole time and not actually editing. So
Yeah.
maybe one day I'll do it. But the first question, I kind of want to get this question out of the way because it's becoming, I don't want to say less and less relevant over time because
Mm-hmm.
I think we've gotten through the worst of like quarantine and stuff. Well, hopefully we've gotten through the worst. You never know.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you, how have things changed for you, Shane, since COVID started, either as an actor or just in your regular everyday life?
Yeah.
Insight to that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, so my quarantine has definitely changed um me and what I do in a lot. Just because uh used to Uh, Emily, my fiance, and I, we moved down just before COVID hit. We moved down in February of last year.
Hmm.
And so what happened was we moved down, and I'm originally from San Diego. So I was moving back down, and I was like, okay, so I'm going to get in contact with theaters. I already had like things kind of like a plan of when to audition to what.
Hmm.
And then everything was just like locked down. And so that was really weird because I've had to become more comfortable with this, you know, the video aspect of it and trying to have essentially be the costume designer, set designer, and um, actor, kind of like all wrapped in one. Because being in lockdown, no one came to my house and was like, "Okay, here's your costume."
Hmm.
Or it was, "What clothes do you have in which we can make this work? And what can you do for the background to make it look like we were in the setting?"
Right.
I was a part of this uh, theater. Um, I want to say theater compilation, monologue compilation. It was called Theater is the Cure, and it was started down here in San Diego, and it was a kind of a worldwide process. There's actors, directors, writers from all over the world. As far as I was directed by someone in Australia, and so what it was like you get a monologue written for you, and then this director meets with you once or twice via Zoom,
Mm-hmm.
and then you you act it to the camera, and they tell you notes. And it was really weird because like I I was in my there was one time this one monologue I was supposed to be in the Arctic,
Mm-hmm.
or not Arctic, Antarctica, and I was a explorer down there. But I in reality I was just like in my bathroom,
Right.
so you really have to take yourself out of something that you know
That's a pretty
so
tough
well.
sell right there.
Yeah,
Going
no.
from Antarctica to bathroom.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a lot of fun, and it definitely stretched my mind um, in that regard to use my imagination more. Um, Definitely in daily life, it's become a lot more like prevalent. I there was a time a little bit earlier this year that kind of everyone thought that things were going up, like things were getting better.
Mm.
Cases were dipping, stuff like that, and then it started to go up again, and it kind of made me realize, like, look, this isn't really going anywhere right now. All you can do is do your part and do your thing, kind of like in the theater, where if you just do your part, then the production will go on, and you give your part 110%, 100%. You believe you do everything like what you need to, and boom, like it works. And so that's something that for me, like I had to it was nice because the adaptability of theater allowed me to adapt to um I guess the restrictions, I guess,
Mhm.
of quarantine a little bit more, or the ever changing uh I guess rules and regulations with that.
Yeah. I honestly, like, I could have a whole talk with you about having a role like either in a film production or theater, and sticking to that job, and just, like, how many moving
Oh
parts
yeah.
there are, and how much work it is to begin with, just to get the thing moving effectively. And
Yeah.
then you get into the territory of people's personalities clashing, and it being really, then all the insurmountable obstacles that seem to come up. So yeah, that's a whole thing.
Yeah.
um Real quick, Elias,
Mhm.
dude, thank you so much for popping in on Facebook and YouTube. Apparently my chat box is still not working for some reason, because I don't see you like popping up on the stream, but I see your name on the side. So thank you for coming in. Elias says this guy looks like a famous actor, doesn't he? Shane definitely does look like
I've
a famous actor.
I've I've been told uh uh Christian Schmidt and a couple other people tell me that I remind them of a mixture of like Ryan Reynolds and like a little bit of Ryan Reynolds
Uh-huh.
from like Deadpool and stuff. And then I think the even though that he's getting a whole bunch of like flack right now, which it's kind of like I don't want to be associated with, like it's like a mix of Ryan Reynolds and Chris Pratt. Like those two people, they like from The Office,
Huh. Yeah.
or no, from Parks and Rec,
Yeah.
when he's Andy Dwyer. They like mix those two, and they're like, "That's what you like." And I was like, "I'll take that." Now it's a half compliment.
You know, I could see the Ryan Reynolds a little bit. Chris Pratt, I
Yeah,
maybe the hair color. Not,
yeah.
not really. Elias says John Gallagher Jr. I I don't know what he looks like, so I'm
Ooh,
gonna pull him up real quick.
yeah, that's gonna
On
be
the on the stream. Where is my where's my Safari? Just realized I put not spelling this right. How did you do it?
Don Gallagher.
Gallagh. John Gallagher Jr. It okay again. I feel like it's kind of I could see it a little bit in this photo. Maybe it's kind of the hair color. That's definitely not him. That looks like him a little bit.
Oh,
I've never seen
yeah.
this actor before.
Neither have I. I guess when I that's a girl.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
lady in there.
Yeah. There is a lady there.
Um, when so I was in a show and I had to play. This was the casting just really boggled my mind. I had to play a 60 something year old character
I
and I
think
looked
you're
like this.
telling me about.
Yeah. And so the thing was is that I had to so it was for Sherlock Holmes and I was like super excited.
Mhm.
I was like Sherlock Holmes to me is young, right?
Yeah, youngish,
Like that's
ish.
youngish,
Yeah.
right? I completely agree. So, but they gave it to someone who was closer to 70, and my character was older than him. So,
Wait,
what
you're
they
telling me they had someone to play your role?
Mhm.
Okay, continue.
Yeah. So, what they had me do is I grew out my hair and I grew out my beard.
Hmm.
Like, and then they had me do white spray paint in my hair, gray spray paint in my hair, white in my beard, old age makeup on, and like it just I looked completely out of place. Like it was one of those things where when I saw the cast photo, I was like, everyone looks normal except for me.
How do you think the 70-year-old felt?
Well, he was fine. He was it was a like a yearly production of
Uh-huh.
a different version of Sherlock Holmes, and he always played Sherlock.
Oh, okay.
So this was something that I was like, you know what? Maybe I will get, and I was the only one that was getting called back with him. Like we both were doing, and I was really hoping that I was gonna, but it, turned out to be what it was.
He just plays that character every time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they just went with the safe bet, and I was like,
Yeah.
could have been a little bit better.
Yeah. Well, it's an
Uh,
ambitious move on your part.
yeah,
So.
it was. Uh, Also was an ambitious move because in that, so this is all before COVID, but I did a little bit of like fight choreography in that,
Hmm.
and getting Sherlock Holmes, who is a world class fighter. Like in the books, if you read the books, he said like he's an incredible fighter. He's extremely nimble. Trying to get him to be like a, let's say, mid to upper 30s character,
Mm.
it was a bit of a stretch. Like, like he didn't have the full range of motion. If you,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that is one of the challenges with choreo, especially if you're working with an actor because they fit the character well, but when it comes to the physicality and the side of the performance that isn't so much the lines and emotion, uh, and they're not very experienced with it. I had kind of a similar struggle when I worked on an indie film a few years ago, where the choreography wasn't insanely complicated. And that's the challenge too, because as a choreographer, you want to get really creative with how it's going to look and make it look as good as possible. But you also have to keep in mind that this needs to be something that the actors can do. And sometimes explaining the steps is the hardest thing because they just have two
Yeah.
left feet. They can't fall. They can't remember the next thing. Especially if they're an older actor, it can be really hard. So I totally feel you on that one for
Yeah.
sure. Alex, I got the new COD and the campaign is really fun. I was thinking about streaming it. I actually, Elias, I was thinking about the same thing. I haven't got the game yet, but let me know your thoughts when you get it. Um, Real quick aside, Shane, have you? When's the last time you played a Call of Duty game, if ever?
Oh, last call. Okay, so it was actually I played a little bit Call of Duty the mobile game,
Okay.
and then but before that it was back in I think 2017. It's been 5 years since
Mhm.
I was with Christian Sullivan, and it was just essentially just like on the it was on Xbox? Yeah, it was on Xbox.
Okay.
And we just like there was a time where it was just I was like it was kind of a and this is going into a little bit of me, but I was like I was struggling
It's all
for a
about
little
you,
bit.
dude. It's all about
Yeah,
you.
I know. So I was struggling for a little bit. I didn't really uh like know really what I was doing or it pretty much nothing to me seemed to really like pan out or anything. And so um Christian and I were friends, and it was just one of those things where he just invited me over one day and he was like, "Hey, do you play?" And I was like, "I mean, I do, not well, but I do." Something
Hmm.
like you say is always like get outside your comfort zone or, try new things. And
For sure.
so so I did it for about a couple months, and you know, I mean, in all honesty, I enjoyed it. Like it was super fun.
Yeah.
Um, I also for me, I know like I need to set kind of like a timer
You'd be
because
playing all night.
yeah, because then I'll be playing all night. Next thing you know, I'm like, oh man. There was one time I think we just like, and it was so bad. Like I think we ordered pizza and had ice cream, and like that was college dinner, like pinnacle.
Hell yeah.
And we just like passed out with the game still on. And I was like, what is going on here?
Living it up, dude.
Yeah, 100%.
Do
Uh,
you remember which Call of Duty it was that you were playing?
I think it was um
Or
no,
like
this is gonna be
were you playing online, or it was probably online, right? Or like co-op or
um
something?
it was a co-op, and then we did I wanna say it's gonna be were all the zombies German? Is
Yes.
that how
Yeah, they are.
yeah?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
never mind. Because I was gonna be like, does that help? I think it's Black Ops 3.
Ah, okay, yeah. Black Ops is the series that has all of the zombies in it. That's
Yeah,
super popular. Oh,
yeah,
that's cool, dude.
yeah,
Um,
no.
Alex, AXF Plague. What's up, man? Podcast stream. Yes, I've started to do a few more of them. We had our first one last Saturday, which was with an old high school buddy of mine, and we just kind of hung out and talked about stuff. And today is with a really, really awesome, talented actor, Shane. A quick intro for anyone who's just popping in right now. Um, and to give some insight maybe into the title of the stream, is Shane worked with me on the first project that I ever directed, and it is to this day. I've been thinking, was this the best day or just one of the best? And I my litmus test was I can't really remember any other really good days. I mean, I remember really good days, but not as good as this. So best day of my life was with this guy out in the desert, sweating our faces off
God.
with swords and baseball bats and Cali sticks. Elias, there's Cali sticks in my film. You need to go watch it. There's a little bit of Call of Duty reference in there. So yeah, that was like I did not know what I was doing. But we all came together and we were in sync with wanting to make something really cool. And so I wanted to bring Shane on and talk to him about that. Aside from the fact that he has just been there for me in some really low points recently and in the past. So yeah, bit of an intro there. I didn't mean to throw you off, Shane. We
No,
were
you're
we
good.
were, we were talking about Call of Duty, and then right before you were talking about choreographing over,
Oh yeah.
and so I actually spoke with Shane a few days ago, and he got me up to speed on what it's like to try to put together an entire production over Zoom. I haven't worked on one personally, but I've seen a couple, and to be honest, it's a miracle that some of these things even come to be, because I don't know how you're able to communicate any type of direction virtually like this.
So it really depends on the it's gonna sound really you know, kind of like a no duh. It really the direction really depends on the director. If it's a good director, they will totally just like pick it up. I was in a production in which the director absolutely hated the play. He was like constantly from the very beginning, I don't know why we're doing this. This doesn't make sense.
Was he being asked to do it like by a company or something?
No, it was he wasn't like he's part of a company
Mm-hmm.
and he volunteered for it.
Okay.
And so
Like, what
I
was
was
I
spent
thinking?
right. Oh, and he was changing the script without the writer's knowledge. He was like, "Oh, that's not important." And so it was actually in this room that I would just be so I have a stand-up desk and I would just be making faces the entire time because
Yeah.
like you just don't do that. And he was like, "Yeah, this line doesn't matter. We'll cut that." Oh, they're supposed to be this. Apparently, he cast the show before he read the play.
What? How do you so he that I'm trying to like wrap my head around this. So you'd have to know the characters that are in it, right? Or did he just say, "Hey, I know a bunch of people I really like. I'm going to have them all just be in it no matter
So
what roles there are?"
I think he was given like you need this many male, this many female, um, and these are the character names,
Mhm.
and these are their relationships. But there was definitely someone who was supposed to play the youngest sister, who was actually older than like who was in the supposed to be the oldest sister,
Mhm.
and it was just one of those things where it just didn't really make any sense. And he was like, "Well, this is how I cast it. I cast the show before I saw it, and this is what we're gonna have to do. No more switching around parts. Like no one was switching anyway."
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, honestly, I would um, I would get anxious and angry like anytime I would have to think about getting the lines, like reviewing my lines or like going to rehearsal, I just like was not happy. And that it's the only project that I have walked away with from. And it's also a like a project that I was like for myself, I needed to walk away from it
Uh-huh.
because um I did see the final product of that and was like, I'm glad my name wasn't attached to that. Not like I'm like a super famous actor or anything,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
like I'm like so many people are looking for it, but it was just one of those things of like for my own sake, it's hard to put like as you know, it's hard to put your best foot forward even though that you know that it's not it. Like you know it can be so much more. Does that make sense?
You are touching on something that is sort of the reason I haven't auditioned in a long time and why I'm really gung ho on making content now is I was gonna comment a second ago on like how angry you were when you were because it's like there's nothing you can do about that. At least nothing productive. You could throw a fit and you could confront the director, but that reflects more poorly on you. You know, not sticking to your lane and um, fundamentally it's a bit massive waste of your time because you have certain goals set for yourself as an actor, and if you're working if you're going on a wild goose chase of trying to achieve credits for your resume or your reel, it's such a roundabout way of finally going, okay, now I can do the thing. Now I've done all these other things that kind of support me on my journey, but not really. Granted, I do want to say every project you work on is some sort of learning experience. I probably wouldn't have come to this realization myself if I hadn't wasted my time, so to speak, on a bunch of stuff going like, what am I doing here? And I honestly would never have had the courage to direct that project we worked on if I hadn't been on sets where I was like, dude, I could do this. This is really
Yeah.
this isn't that bad. So I 100% feel your pain on that for sure. Um, Actors in general, at least if you are solely focused on acting, there are so many parts of the process that are completely out of your hands, and not to detract from our craft as actors. We're not puppets, but I feel like the higher you get on the food chain, so to speak, the less say you kind of have. I mean, it depends who you are. If you're a producer, then you say, but um it's not what people might think it is. You don't get to go up there. You take an acting class and you might think, oh well, I have so much room to experiment and have fun and play around. And really, it's you have certain things you need to say. You need to show up. You need to have your lines down, and you get maybe a couple takes to do them because time is money, and moving forward from there. Um, so yeah, I feel that 100%. So aside from those experiences that you've had over quarantine, all the stuff that you've been doing virtually, what have you been up to right now, Shane? What is your current game plan as an actor, or like what is your goal or what you're doing at the moment?
Yeah, so current game plan is um pretty much what you're doing. Take a break.
Mm. Yeah.
Because it's not for me it's not fun. Um it's kind of COVID, COVID and quarantine kind of lost that spark a little bit. Also, it was interesting because um I'm not I in no way consider myself um to be a professional actor. Um and at the same time, I had been doing projects that were community theater based, and those are great to put on your resume. Those are great to be seen by other companies, in the county or or in your area. say a director comes sees and they're like, oh, I like that actor. Let me get the name and number so maybe I can call them this next time. But right now, not a whole lot of people are getting jobs. Like, and that's and community theater to me lost the listening aspect of it, and I became um, I became very complacent and was like, this is easy.
Hmm.
Um, in which I was trying to reach people with my voice, reach out to them, say, um, with my lines, just trying to do it a different way so that way they hear and react naturally, the flow of energy kind of deal.
Hmm.
And I didn't get a change. Like it was they said the same line the same way every single time. They didn't, even if you changed the way you said it, they would still say it the exact same way. And it kind of was, and that's the thing, like I love my time community theater because, you know, it is a lot of fun. It is a lot of, coming from college where that's all we did. It was just theater with for the most part, all our own age people
Hmm.
going out into the community and getting the whole wide range of people. That was really interesting, and I definitely took valuable stock of that. I met some wonderful people. I met a high school um, teacher a high school theater teacher who then asked me to choreograph Treasure Planet. I mean, not Treasure Planet, Treasure Island.
Hmm.
And so it's the connections that you make are valuable, and you can meet connections online, w- but it's really hard because you only see this.
Hmm.
Um like you don't see everything else that like acting is not just here, which is the same way that I see in like sports and in film, as you know, like the cinema, whoever the director of photography tells you, this is what I want you to see.
Hmm.
Whether it's, you know, is this gives a different perspective than up close, kind of a deal.
Right.
And so I I like to see everything, and that's something that I'm missing in this kind of like relationship between actor or performer or people and the audience.
Right. And that makes sense because film is already catered towards capturing that entire perform. I mean, film has been developing for um, decades at this point, and what we're looking at right now is theater trying to be theater, but not on the stage. Is how
Yes.
I is how I interpret it, and it's not working very well, or at least it's not translating very well. Which is unfortunate because the theater is best experienced in a real live, intimate, like in person, venue. Um, so yeah, I'm curious to see like how this pans out. I don't see theater like staking its claim in this format. Like it doesn't work that way. It's either going to have to go back in person to some degree, or actually, well, okay. Here's the only alternative I can think of. Actually, before I say that, Alex says you should have him play some chill games on the downtime. We're gonna force Shane to play games right now. I'm gonna have this
I'm
screen
ready.
up.
I'm ready.
If he dies at all, there's actually a giant tank of piranhas that's above his cam right now. He doesn't know it, but and you guys didn't know it until I mentioned it. If he dies, it's gonna open up and it's not gonna be a pretty sight. I actually might get demonetized, and I have to second guess this now. Panda. Oh no, don't worry about it. You are always on time, Panda. No matter what time you show up, it's all good. Movies are pre-recorded theater. Well, okay.
I say
So let me
yes
get
and
into
no
my
to
thing.
that one.
Yeah, yes and no. So, if I Alex, I don't know if you've been on a film set, or I imagine you've probably seen a play in the past. But the difference is, well, it's actually pretty huge, especially if you're the actor who is
Yeah.
there. When you are on a film, you have to imagine like this tiny spurt of an action that you have to do. And it has to be very specific. It has to be in a certain direction because it needs to meet a bunch of technical requirements. Okay, look, I'm exaggerating here a little bit, but if I couldn't cry on camera, I could look sad and then they could CGI in tears. Now, they would never do that for a crying scene. I would just, I'd have to cry. But there are all kinds of things in film that have nothing to do with the acting. It's the actor is a model that allows post production to do its job more effectively. As I get more into creating content, I realize that me setting up my camera to shoot a TikTok is 20% of the work. The other 80 was but maybe like 10% was the no, 5% was coming up with the idea, and then the other 15% was the post production. Like the majority was the post production. Whereas with a play, play is very much like, I would say, acting as a sport. Okay, so you go up there and you flex your muscles as an actor. You memorize your lines. You find variation in your performance so that there is some newness each time you go up, and it's a very organic experience. And also, there's different requirements you need to meet. Like projection is important in a play because the people in the back row need to be able to hear you. In that sense, it's not going to sound as realistic when you're doing a play because me shouting about how upset I am that I've lost my lover doesn't really fit the context of that scene in real life. But on camera, I don't have to do that. The mic is right there, the boom is really close to me, and I can just say my line as the director intends, and sound is not an issue. So there are differences in those technical aspects. Had Korean barbecue. I'm so full. Ooh, what is bulgogi? What kind of Korean barbecue? I figure
That's delicious.
Dude, isn't Korea? You know what? I need to come down to San Diego and get some Korean barbecue.
So one of the best places I had Korean barbecue, Carlos told me about it. It's in Long Beach. Red Temple? It's over by the I think it's like within 10 minutes of you. But
Okay.
it's the all you can eat is like, I mean, prices down here are pretty expensive because it's San Diego, but
So
the
what you're
price up
saying
there,
is you're gonna come here and then we'll
yeah,
have.
yeah.
Oh my dude. Jesse just popped in. He says, "So you guys playing Warzone or what?" I'm over here trying to have like a deep, genuine conversation with Shane, and everyone's like, "So what game is Shane playing?"
Yeah, I'm probably the most boring. But I wanted to ask you something, Alex,
Yeah,
because we
sure.
were talking about like the difference between film and theater.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a film like a theater production that they made for TV?
Oh, yes, I have. Oh my god, you just triggered one of like my deepest childhood memories. Okay,
I hope it's a good one.
wait, it's kind of a weird one. All right, so weird fact about me, chat is, I may have told you guys this already, and my dementia is kicking in. But when I was a kid, I would sit at the coffee table, and watch Cats the play, the recording of the play, but I would sit and like I had a bag of peanuts, but I didn't eat the peanuts. I would just like suck the salt off of them and like spit out the shell and the peanut and everything. Like I had a pile of just like uneaten peanuts but no salt on them. And I would do this every time I watched Cats.
Why?
I don't know. One of those things that manifests as a child, and you stick with it. But
That's great.
it's I mean it's been years since I've done that. You brought up a very pleasant memory. Hope for the future, maybe. One day I'll be sitting in my own theater that I own, and I'm gonna be having peanuts. Except I'll eat the peanuts properly. This.
You-
Yeah. How about you, Shane? Have you had any experience aside from
I
peanuts?
have. Yeah, besides peanuts, I have. And I actually, the reason I brought that up is because so we, and that was really interesting. The I think is the person that asked the question. His name is Alex as well. If I'm
AXF Play
yeah.
Gaming is Alex. Yes.
Okay. So the question that Alex said about like, or the reason why movies are pre-recorded theater, to me it's so I saw um uh we got Disney Plus, and so I watched Hamilton on that, and then I was super fortunate enough to actually see it when it was at the Pantages. And what was really nuts was that I wasn't paying attention to the main actors because I already saw them in the televised version of that, if that makes sense. I was
Okay.
watching the ensemble, I was watching their movements because like I said earlier, like that to me, like that is the atmosphere that pushes it forward, and that the camera, they tell you what to look at,
But
and
you don't see
when
any
they
of that ensemble in the edges of the frame necessarily.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
So in that you just they were like, you look at this character, and then next thing you know, it's just like when if they just panned back and just kept it, I know it doesn't make it for interesting, TV or film, but if they just kept a static shot of everything and kept it like that, that you can see everything that goes on.
Mm.
Um, because uh, it is like to me, it hypes up the main characters, which is important because that brings the story forward. But you don't recognize everything that is allowing the production to move forward.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Um, so that's something that to me, I found out that I got a lot more enjoyment, and it was interesting because I saw it before and I saw it like from TV to live. I got two different things out of it because I was viewing, my viewing window was two different things.
Right. Yeah. It's the same show, but it's a experience. Um, say yeah. You just reminded me. It'll come back to me. What it? Jesse says enough of this acting shit. Acting. What a waste of time, man. Go get a real job. Oh my god. Maybe a better fit would be controlled environment versus just doing something on the fly. Yeah, I mean there is that element of spontaneity that comes with acting on the stage that like as an actor you can take advantage of. Film, well, you want to say it's a controlled environment, but you go shoot in Brazil for 4 months. I don't know how strong the word controlled is. That's um, bro. I saw that Walking Dead mouse on my Twitter. Oh, the thing that I gotta send this to Alex, and I realized you're the one who tweeted it. Also, the cat's memory sounds like a fever. Yeah, it really is kind of a fever. So just real quick for everyone, what Elias is talking about. Couple hours ago, I was in a Twitter space, which is like an audio only room where everyone can, come up and speak and like share their projects and stuff. And the Walking Dead mouse is an NFT project made by a Pixar animator um, who actually went to an event where Dead Mouse was performing. So he was showing off his NFT project. I thought it was really cool, so I retweeted it. Um, yeah, that's another thing maybe we can talk about down the line. Is like I've been obsessed with NFTs, Shane. I'm sure you
Yes.
know already. And I think it's a fantastic avenue for maybe not acting specifically yet, but if I can push that in this sort of like pioneering time that we're in, I'm most definitely going to. Jesse's had enough. Yeah, Jesse can't stand us talking. The ensemble. I forgot to tell you, Shane. Wet Memer, Elias is a fellow actor. I did theater with him in high
Oh,
school,
sweet.
so he'll get a lot of this stuff we're talking about. I'm really happy that both guys are. Um, yeah, he said the ensemble in Hamilton is next level.
Yeah,
Uh,
it is.
dude, so glad he's. Oh, thanks, man. As someone who has had very little ensemble role experience, you mean very little, unless you're saying that because you're the lead all the time. Whenever I watch a live performance, I'm always focused on ensemble. So Elias and I worked in Disco Inferno and All Shook Up. So two
Okay.
musicals, and I was ensemble in both of those. And Elias, I'm pretty you were lead in both of them, right? I'm sorry, forgive me. I can't remember everything. It's yeah, it's so much more encapsulated. Okay, and so now Elias and Jesse are nerding out about Call of Duty Vanguard.
Okay.
That's awesome. I need to get it. Travis Scott for jail 2021. Quick aside, Shane, did you hear what happened? Travis Scott.
No, I did not.
Well, the reason Jesse brings this up is because he's trying to trigger me. Actually, I'm not gonna say for jail, but so Astro World is one of Travis Scott's albums. He just
Uh
had a
huh.
concert called Astro World,
Uh huh.
and it got very rowdy. People rushed the stage, and I think 8 people died.
Oh
It
my God. Yeah, I just looked it up.
oh, you
Sorry, I'm
just
on
found
my
it.
phone. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yo, that is nuts.
Let me
No concert needs to get that rowdy. Or festival. Sorry, Jesse.
CNN. At least 8 people are dead, many others injured after a crowd surged forward towards the stage at the Astro World Festival. And I apologize if you guys can't read it. I'm just gonna um pause his performance to look on in confusion. So he may have had no idea until the ambulance were oh my god. It's scores of individuals that were in, numerous people in attendance. We have to get right when he started performing his first song, I looked at my boyfriend and said, "We have to get out of here." That we can't, dude. That reminds me of holy crap, EDC back in the day. Gets super
Yeah.
rowdy, but nothing like this. That I very
Well,
very
yeah, it's definitely tragic. And I think that this, definitely ties into the very first question that you asked me of like, how's COVID quarantine treating you? Like, I definitely feel like looking out at the world, there's so much like pent up energy that people are just going to like go nuts and
yeah.
like I think like it's almost like I wonder if had quarantine not happened, but Travis Scott like put on this festival, would it um like would they have rushed the stage? Like would they have done anything? But like 8 people, that's just like that's more than a festival ever needs to have. It should always be zero, especially for it, that's just really sad. Uh, Jesse, I hope your work friend was okay.
Yeah,
'Cause that's just nuts.
did he give you an account of the experience at all, Jesse? And my apologies, festival, not concert. I'm sorry. I heard people were sharing fentanyl infused blunts, not saying it was dude. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Just like any type of festival situation that you get into, there's going to be a 99% chance that that's happening. The discourse on Twitter about this event is so toxic. Yeah, I'm not gonna look at it. It's probably a bunch of like rowdy fans that are Travis Scott sort of. Yeah, he does actually with his he calls his fans ragers, and you watch him perform on stage. I mean his events are insanely, they're crazy. But yeah, I could the first thought I had when my mom told me that this happened, I was like, oh boy, it sounds like something that would happen at
And
a Travis Scott, which is sad because I have always wanted to see him live. Maybe one day I will, but I'm not going to be standing at the front. That's
yeah, you stand in the back from, in your car with the out the window, so you're like, listen.
outside the fence. Actually, it's not even a van. I'm just playing it on the radio. Oh man. Um. So we were talking about seeing stage taken
Yeah.
onto the camera.
Yeah.
Uh, did did I ask you what you were doing for work right now? I think I did. I don't-
Yeah, yeah, you did, you did. Yeah, no, I'm essentially just like taking it easy, not doing.
Oh, that's
I
right. Yeah, yeah.
do,
You're taking a break.
yeah,
You're taking.
yeah. I'm taking a break. I'm doing a little things here and there, like uh when I can. I was telling you, I think a couple days ago, last week, something like that, that I assisted my brother, who's a character animation artist.
Mm-hmm.
He had a project that he was asked to do, he was involved with, and it was a filmed version of Romeo and Juliet, but everyone was in quarantine. So they all had the same criteria. They all used well, I think the cameras were different depending on what they had, but they were all delivered like green screens, ring lights, things like that.
Yeah.
And then so I helped out with a little bit of with the choreography with that. And mind you, to just say this to everyone and no one, I am in no way uh, qualified. Well, I'm a little qualified, but I don't have the title of like official fight choreographer title. Know I know moves, and I have things, and like I have pictures inside my head of what could look really cool. Um, and I think if we can, Alex, if we can talk about like how we a little bit came up with our, because you and I did some choreography but in the end,
Yeah, we most
um,
definitely did.
yeah, because that was you and I doing a lot of that and trying to work that out. But that being said, I had to I was in or I choreographed uh 2 of the biggest fights in the show. The Mercutio Tybalt and then Tybalt Romeo fight. And that was crazy because, like, say this is the camera. I had to, I had to, I had to be here. I needed a like green screen behind me, and I was fighting essentially like the air, and then also at the same time, I had to in the next take have to react in what I was doing.
Oh
I had
man.
to, I had to switch clothes. I had to um, change fighting styles, and also because they were all different. So it took me like a whole weekend to film roughly like 5 minutes because of like setting things up,
Yeah.
you know, writing things down, what works, what doesn't, timing it out right.
Were
Um,
you given? Was this an instruction you were given? Hey, we need you're choreographing it. We need you to film it, or did you just go? This is the only way I'm going to be able to. How did that? How did
no,
this whole thing happen?
so my brother texts me and goes, "Hey, you free right now?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Can I call for quick?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." So he calls me and goes, "So I'm in the middle of a production. I'm doing a filmed version of Romeo and Juliet." And I was like, "That's great." He goes, "Yeah, I'm animating for it." Um, and the director asked me, "Can you?" The director asked him, Can you choreograph these two fights?" And my brother, knowing his limitations, which I completely understand, like, which is a good thing, he goes, "I can't, but I know someone who does, and I'll get it done. It'll get done." And the director's like, "I don't care who does it. It's just as long as it gets done, that's all I need." So he was like, "Can uh, can you choreograph it, film it, and then send it to me?" Or no, he goes, "Can you choreograph the fight and send me what it is?"
Hmm?
I was like, "Not a problem." And he goes, "Oh, can you also storyboard it?"
Okay.
And I, I paused on the phone just like this and went, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, yeah." I was like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Yeah, just storyboard it for me. Just
Yeah,
the
yeah,
fights,
no
what it's
big
gonna
deal.
do." So I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Um, so my drawing skills are like stick figures that don't look like stick figures. So I knew what was happening in my head. And so to get it down on paper, I was like, okay, I think how do I make stick figures right and left? Like wh- like how's this gonna work? Um and he goes, "Cool, cool, cool. Send it now film it with a blank background." I was like, "Dude." He goes, "Yeah, it's not a problem. Not a problem." So I used I don't have a so I was in our garage and I just hung up a bed sheet. I was telling this to you. I hung up a bed sheet. But the thing about it, it's not long enough for me. I'm 6'1", and
Yeah, guys,
I need
this dude is super tall, by the way.
so I need something at least 12 feet long. and and at least 12 feet wide as well, because that, lanky arms and things like that, I'm running, kicking. And I would send it to him and he goes, I sent him the first draft and he goes, "Cool, can you redo it?" I was like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, yeah, can you just redo it? You sent it in a higher frames per second than what I needed." And I was like,
Oh.
"Yeah, yeah, not a problem." So I did that. I got it to the right, because I was like, "What are they gonna be? What's the final film gonna be at?" And he was like, "I think it was either 30. I think it was 30." And I was like, "Perfect, done." And
We have to pause for all the gamers real quick because they're going. This is the first time they've ever heard someone say they needed less frames rather than more frames. All of us are
oh
fighting for the
yeah.
most frames.
So also because my brother's animating it, so if you have what's the so what do you have while you're gaming, Alex?
What do I have in regards to?
Frames per second.
Oh, it depends on the game, but anywhere between I want to say 110 to 180.
Okay. So let's say 150. Okay. So if someone filmed something live in 150 frames per second and then sent it to him, that file is going to be super large.
Yep.
And so him trying to open it, and as an animator, he takes every frame and draws on it, and he changes it just a little bit every single time. So 30 frames per second is actually quite a bit in the and well, it animate for 30 frames per second was standard for this because he could edit it faster, he could draw on it, and it's still a smooth transition with the in-betweens and everything. So he was like, "Yeah, can you lower the frames per second for me because he was also on a deadline
Hmm.
and there's only so many hours in a day, you know."
Believe it or not.
I know. He was like, "Yeah, that's fine. I can get like 3 hours of sleep, and then I'll just like drink some coffee, and I'll be good to go for the next." And I was like,
Uh,
"No," like, and he was like, "I don't know why I'm tired all the time."
the biological
Like,
function
okay,
that's being completely ignored.
exactly. Um, so I filmed it, and I got into my final colors, and I sent it off to him, and we did. There was a little bit of tweaks, we did. I sent him the first rough draft, and then I sent him the second one, and then he animated that one. He sent off the second, then we changed it a little bit for what the director wanted, and then I did it again, and that was the thing that he sent to the actors for them to move the camera to the right position
Mm,
in which to use it for the fight because there were some things that were straight on, like fist coming in, head going back straight on, looking like the camera was the fist in that kind of moment. Um, and I liked it because it challenged me. I didn't like it because it challenged me. Because I had to, you thought about how do I fight someone when they're not there? And what's the distance do I need to make them be for it to work? At what point while we're fighting or, but in the end, at what point, because I was the one with the bat, for those of you that have seen it. Jesse, I know that you have. Um,
yeah, you were there.
with the bat, at what point does the bat connect with a face? Does it connect with a leg? And so that was really, I didn't want to think about it, but it made me think like, oh, that's um if I like actually had to be like, okay, if the fist is coming here and then B is right. And so I was talking to myself the entire time.
Yeah, that's really tough. And it's hard too because you have the idea for what the choreo is going to look like, but then you realize when you actually do it with another person, you're like, oh, when I thought of that move, it was actually going through a solid object. Now that object can't go that way. So,
Yeah.
man, that's tough. But you got and how did it come out? Like, were you happy with the result or
Yeah. I mean, I was happy with the end result.
that's awesome?
He sent me the final, or he sent me the final version of it that he did. Um, and also, it was the play, the vision the director wanted was like a mix of, um, he wanted it to be like Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Oh, nice. That's really cool. One of my favorite
So,
movies.
yeah, so like video, comic book kind of. I had some freezes. I had some. Do you remember in our choreography class, there the fight stage? I don't know
Stage
what that
combat.
class was called. The stage combat class. Um, Ezra was talking about like magic and where does it, like, you have external magic or
Oh yeah.
internal. So like someone flicks and then the other person goes flying, or someone starts punching but then slows down.
Mm,
So that I had to do. I had to think about that because I was like, what's gonna look really cool if someone like like a really slow, like, starts to kick someone in the chest, but all of a sudden goes really slow and it touches it and the guy goes flying.
mhm,
So um yeah, it was difficult to to do, but it was also really rewarding because I did enjoy it, and it was something that I was like, I at first I didn't think I could do it.
mhm.
Like that's like that's the thing, you know? And then when I did it, it was like I was getting very overwhelmed, and like I didn't know where to start. And my fiance was like, "Shane, just take take a breath, do one thing, make a list, do one thing at a time, just do one shot. And then once you do that, go to the next one. See how that one is." And I, you're not in your head because like you definitely know like
Yeah.
that is how, if you look at it at a whole, it was 5 minutes of fighting from four different
That's a
perspectives.
long time. A long time
Yeah.
fight scene.
Yeah. So it was because it was different ones.
Yeah.
And then but when you break it down to 5-second intervals, all of a sudden it became, "Oh, I can do that."
Oh, yeah.
That was a learning process for me on that one. So, very thankful that that was that she was there, that she helped me, because then I think I might have just been like, "Sorry, can't do it. You gotta find someone else."
That's I mean, that is very, very wise advice. It's so easy in this realm to become overwhelmed with project or to think too big and bite off more than you can chew. But um, she said it. I've heard this on other podcasts as well. A Navy SEAL I listen to says that one of the keys that helps him overcome challenges is make your world smaller. So rather than worrying about what's going on like over the scale of the entire project, but just and not even the scale of everything you have to do in the project, but one tiny segment of that, if you can get through it, it won't seem so daunting mentally, first of all, and secondly, you'll build confidence over time as you work on it. Sounds like
Yeah.
that's a really great sort of anecdote towards striving for any goal. Really, is just break it down into
Yeah.
smaller steps and do it. As long as you have some sort of plan and you have a direction that you are moving towards and you're moving even if it's a tiny bit, then you can make a lot of things happen. People would be surprised at what they're capable of.
Yeah.
Uh Elias said sheesh at that story that you were
Yeah.
telling. This is what I okay. So back when you were talking about how he was like, oh, just make a fight scene and send it to me, Alex. That's a no strats moment. So what he means is like we went into a game and we didn't have any plan going in. So maybe. Oh,
Yeah.
actually, that might be a good point, though. I don't know if I mean, the mannequin might help, like if it has like adjustable arms and stuff. But
Yeah, I would love
yeah,
to. That would be great to have a maneuverable. mannequin to design fight choreography, I guess. And if, you know, I don't I'm not sure if this platform is ever going to go away with film or theater or whatever. So, but it might be something to like think about, like mm, wires and stuff like that. It's a good idea.
Actually, good question. Um, for most of the plays that are being done virtually, is it done over Zoom? Over what platform is being used to make this stuff happen? Is it just a bunch of footage that's together afterwards? Because the one show that I've seen, it was literally a Zoom show.
Yeah. So I have done the the compilation of monologues, the weekly monologues that I did last year was called Theater is the Cure. That was on Zoom. And then I was just in uh, uh, script reading, a cold read that was through Zoom. But my brother's project was film that they put together. So I think most of the platform has been going Zoom. Um, and that's really difficult because what have you used Zoom at all?
I have. I used to
Okay.
when COVID first started. I taught classes on Zoom.
Yeah. So you know about like speaker view versus gallery view?
Yes.
Okay. So it was really difficult in speaker view to have more than two people in a conversation
Hmm.
because it just like keeps going back and forth. So that one you need gallery view, but also entrances and exits happening is very abrupt and is very weird. Um, and I don't know if Zoom will ever go away. Um, Skype really missed out on that one. um, but I think from what I'm seeing, like most of the platform that I've seen live theater on on the computer is through Zoom.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Zoom is popular because a lot of businesses needed it in order to conduct their meetings, which is what Zoom is primarily used for. It can be used in a classroom sense, like you have a speaker at the top and then everyone below can talk or listen if needed.
Hmm.
But putting on a production requires scene changes and and like elements that we don't learn. Honestly, like if I had just done theater at Long Beach State, I wouldn't know jack about film. And
Oh
and
yeah,
I think using something like Zoom, well, to be honest, if I did film, I still wouldn't know that much about Zoom. I learned that cuz I was a gamer, like there's enough apps and platforms out there that have screen and video sharing that I've used from, being a geek, that I would have the best understanding of that. And so it was kind of it's like transitioning to something that I've heard some stories of people in college courses at like the graduate level where the
hmm,
teachers didn't know what to do, like how to give out. They were asking students how to open a window, and so the class time was not being spent on learning; it was spent troubleshooting, which is like
yeah,
especially at that level, it's weird. Um, so yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
yeah,
I would love to see a play in a theater again. Or
yeah,
but at the very, like, here my optimism is maybe you can see a play in VR. That would be super cool. So like you have the actor can still be in their room, um,
hmm,
and and you have someone who is like technically savvy who can set, like, they can create the environment. Have like a You have like a designer create the environment, and then
yeah,
the audience can actually go into they can turn and see what's happening on stage. I think that would be
That
neat.
would be cool. Yeah.
Wouldn't be the same, but I think that would be more staged than watching.
Yeah, true.
So I want to ask you, Shane, if you have one, what is your dream role?
Mm, dream role. Um, I would say,
While you're thinking about that, I want to read what
yeah,
Alex
for sure.
wrote here. Um, says Skype is pretty much dead. Yeah, it's funny because you mentioned Skype, Shane, and Skype is
Mm-hmm.
owned by Microsoft, and I'm like, oh, Microsoft is trying to get into the space too using Teams, but they're not using Skype, even though Skype is more. Yeah, Skype is really kind of gotten a bad rap, I feel. Time to get the game industry involved in theater. Then, yeah. I don't want to go on too much of a tangent, so I just asked you a question. One thing
Yeah.
that's super cool. I mean, I love video games that are based on stories. Like Mass Effect, the reason why I have that name N7 or I had it for the longest
Mm-hmm.
time is because Mass Effect was one of my favorite games, and you could control a lot of aspects of the story based on your dialogue choices and the decisions that you made. And so it would be really cool to see like an interactive play unfold. Maybe not in the sense that the audience is affecting the choices. That'd be kind of a cool option, like
Yeah.
next action is.
Mm-hmm.
But like a gamified play, but not a film. Like it has to be live. Like there have to be people logged in online in that room
Mm-hmm.
doing the thing, and it would be interesting because like some games have proximity chat. But I posted a clip on TikTok that went kind of viral because it was like this hilarious proximity chat moment. And so you can actually hear people based on how far away they are from you in the game. It's not just like, a phone call where I hear you
Oh,
next to me.
that's
So
cool.
so a proximity function
Mm-hmm.
in a virtual show would be like I'm in a scene with you, Shane, and you're standing next to me and we're having a conversation, but in the distance I can hear an audience member, I don't know, booing or something. It would be just like that organic element is like slowly added.
Yeah.
Um what game you playing on your Oculus? I'm watching my favorite play. Yeah. And that adds some urgency to the event because, in this space, like YouTube, for example, VODs are very popular. Like I can go back and watch a video whenever I want. When this stream is over, you guys can go back and watch it whenever you want. But the beauty of this conversation that Shane and I are having is it's live. So you have to be here right now if you want to type in chat and you want us to react in the moment and have that be, immortalized in this video, so to speak. And so if you're watching a live play, then you have to be there while the performers are performing. Otherwise, you're not watching a live play anymore.
Yeah. It's
Is that
just a recording.
Yeah? You're just watching a recording, and then like what recording are you watching? Like, is it just one random audience member's perspective? Is it some kind of master recording like we were talking about earlier? Um, please look at the tweet I sent you, Twitter. Okay, I'll let you answer that question, Shane, while I pull up this.
Okay. Yeah. Um, so I would say that my favorite role, my dream role that I would want to play, um, I it's gonna sound like a cop out, probably
Oh,
at
how
least.
could you?
I know. Um, I I don't have a favorite role because all my roles that I've played are so different. I have one that I have my favorite role that I've ever played. Um, I used to the play that I wanted to be in. Um, yeah, I know Jesse cop out. Um, uh, I played um the boy in Peter and the Starcatcher at in the theater Threshold at Cal State Long Beach, and I also played it in community theater. However, that being said, I just remembered what my dream role would be. It would be Captain Stash from Peter and the Starcatcher because um, I find his um, character so freeing, and I also see him along the lines of um, my another one favorite character that I've ever played um, is was the Mad Hatter in a steampunk Alice in Wonderland version.
Ooh, that sounds super dope.
It was. So this Mad Hatter was because it was carnival, everyone had different jobs. So mine, Mad Hatter wasn't actually a hatter. That was his name, but his character was um, the like trickster. He was the magic guy. He had like I had a dice and three cups, and I was the one that was like moving everything around. Um, and that was my favorite character ever to play because he was high energy, he was loud, he was a lot of fun, and that's what I see Captain Stash in Peter and the Starcatcher because he's high energy, he knows what he wants, he's driven for what he wants, and it's just a hilarious character. Um, so that would be my dream role. The actor that I look up to and the one that I emulate for characters. Um, and I was actually bummed he was when like things were bad for him because I didn't is Johnny Depp.
Oh yeah.
So Johnny Depp in the um in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, as well
Love
as
those
his
movies.
yeah, and his version of the Hatter in Alice in Wonderland.
In the live action?
Yes.
Yes, one of my favorite movies.
So to me, he always got kind of like plays the wacky character. But I find his physicality so freeing and and spot on that he has all this high energy, but he's also contained. Like he's
Mm.
in a capsule, but he's like an air particle just bouncing all around, but he knows what he's doing. And so that's what like if I'm cast in a high energy type of character who's kind of crazy, who's out there, that's what um I want to do. I want to try and um I don't emulate or something like that.
Yeah, for
I don't.
sure, man. I totally. I mean, those roles that he plays are so awesome. Pirates and Alice in Wonderland are such dreamlike. See,
Yeah,
that's for me. That's why I love film so much. Is being transported to another world, and those are other worlds, right?
yeah. No, and that's what I like. You know, with books and with stuff, things that aren't that will talk about life, but not make you feel like you're in real life. At least for me,
Mm.
I want to be transported to another planet, another realm, another dimension, something like that, and it takes you out of it.
Transported to Dagobah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna pull up your tweet right now because you did send me a video. It looks like it's Doctor Disrespect trolling in some quick. I don't know if you'll be able to hear this, Shane, but
They're trying to take Ready, set. go, go! Lose brain cells! Go, go, go! Go, go, Rue, go, go, go! Go, go, go! Go, go, in the middle! Fucking go, 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 go! Shit. All right.
They're trying to take
Here we go,
serious.
go, go, go!
Oh my. Well, yeah, it sounds like it looks like a really amazing game. Video. It's literally just him yelling, "Lose brain cells." Oh man. Okay, we got a few messages in chat. Um, I've seen Cats live like 3 times. What?
Wow.
Was Cats performing in Georgia? Where did you see it, Panda? I would like to, that's my question for you. Where did you see Cats? How long ago was this? I would see it again tomorrow if I had the chance and cry like a baby. It means so much to me. Fever dream memories of watching it with Peanuts. Definitely a pleasant one. I'm sick of this cat stuff. Let's make dogs. Well, Jesse, I mean, you've got 2 actors right here. You have all the resources necessary. You have a platform. If you would like to make dogs and there is an audition for Shane or myself, I'm sure either of us might be open
Do
for
it.
the
Let's
role.
do it.
If you need any fight choreography, I don't know how to train cats or dogs to fight. Not that that would be legal in any regard, but we can train humans for sure. So I'd love to go see and take kids to see the Nutcracker Ballet. I used to go every Christmas with my family and would love for them to sit. Yeah, I haven't seen the Nutcracker, but
I have. It's a
have you?
yeah. It's a very I've never been to the ballet before, and I saw my first one ever was the Nutcracker, and I was like, it's intense. Well, just like you're in awe of the performers in that.
Hmm?
Super interesting to see a story that's all pretty much told without words, but it's not like movement like with elements like you and I did,
Mm-hmm.
which was a show back at Cal State Long Beach. But like it's so much more finesse and pretty.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know very many ballerina friends, but the ones I do, that's kind of like they go off about Nutcracker.
yeah,
That's sort of like the apex, as it were.
yeah.
Could be wrong. My narrow lens. Um, thoughts? Oh my god. Um, I'll let you go first, Shane. Thoughts on Tommy Wiseau's method?
Um, I have to, let me just double check to make sure that I'm getting this right.
you okay. Check. I want to see if you know or if you remember. I don't know if I ever made a joke
My God.
about Tommy.
Yes, I remember. Um,
Hi, Mar. I'm so happy I have you as my best friend, and I love Lisa so much.
oh yeah. Um, yeah, that's a movie that I have not seen, and
Don't ever see it.
I've heard is like I want to see. Didn't they make a movie about making
Yeah.
that movie
Hmm.
with just pull up the Rooms poster and
I'm
analyze.
gonna pull it
Yeah,
up on the stream.
yeah,
We'll keep that as like a poster.
yeah. Just don't make it our background, please.
I won't. The sorry, what you're saying?
No, I was just saying that I'd not seen his acting, or I just heard that The Room. I multiple people tell me do not watch this movie. Is waste of your time.
Dude,
But also at the same time, I was like, I kind of want to watch it.
this movie is amazing. Are you kidding me? It's the greatest movie. I zoom in anymore. No, I can only zoom in 500%. That's see him is an
Oh,
amazing acting method.
oh dear Lord. What's going on?
So I'll give you my thoughts on Tommy was um
Jeez.
Jesse's is so handsome. So okay, The Room is one of my like ironically favorite. Okay, the movie itself is not one of my. Um, a quick story. My ex from a while back, we used to have inside jokes about The Room, about this movie. Like we'd always make references to it. And
Mhm.
so we thought for Valentine's Day it would be a bright idea to sit down and watch it because The Room is technically a love story. So
That
we
doesn't look like a love story.
that makes it so much better. So we we sat down and we were like really excited, like, oh my god, this is gonna be so bad. We we'll have a couple drinks and
Mhm.
we'll have a good time. Dude, the drinks did not help. This movie was so, oh my god, it was so terrible. Like when you watch clips online, the clips are funny because you're like, wow, that's a really bad acting. It's so bad it's good. But when you actually watch 2 hours of that, like the moments that you could tell they were trying to make a good movie, but they just hadn't the slightest hope in the universe that it was going to be good in any way.
Uh-huh.
It's really tough to watch.
Yeah.
Like yeah, but it's hilarious not because the movie intends to be funny. It's a meta joke. Like you're laughing at the fact that they genuinely thought, or not they, he, Tommy Wiseau, genuinely thought that this was a good idea. And if you watch The Disaster Artist, which
Yes,
is
that's what it was.
the making of film, there's a scene where Tommy asks the director. No, the director says we're shooting. The scene takes place in an alley. They're in a studio, standing in a
Uh-huh.
studio. He's like, the scene takes place in an alley. He's like, yes, it shoots in an alley. And he goes, why don't we just use the real alley that's right there? And Tommy's reaction was, this is a real Hollywood movie. We have to shoot in the studio. It's just like the most superfluous reasoning for having a studio. Or like there's like multiple sex scenes in the film, and he's like, I need to sell this movie.
Oh my God.
Like just the logic behind it. There's a scene where they're in a flower shop, and
Uh-huh.
the scene exists for no reason at all. Like it doesn't move the story forward at all. But it's about 20 seconds long, and it's him going in saying, like their lines are just like that. He goes, "Oh hi, can I order a dozen roses? Here you go. Keep the change. Hi doggy." And then he walks out with his roses. And then the well, first off, the scene starts with the lady saying, "Oh hey, Johnny, I didn't recognize you." And then the last line of the scene is, "You're my favorite customer." Oh, that's another thing. Okay, it's a love story for sure. Tommy loves himself so much. He's the hero and the victim of the story. He is a great guy. They screwed up. Yeah, I mean, that's completely accurate. That is the whole movie. He shot the film using two different cameras with two different film types for no reason.
Just seems like you made so much more work for himself.
Well, it's because it was a real Hollywood
Hollywood
movie.
is real Hollywood movie. We have to use everything to make it real.
He wrote the script and couldn't remember the lines. Like they shot that scene where he's
No.
on the rooftop. I'll just play that one scene. So like I'm just gonna play part of it.
It's bullshit. I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hey, Johnny, what's up?
I have a problem with Lisa. She said that I hit her.
What? Well, did you?
No, it's not true. Don't even ask. What's new with you?
What's new with you?
Well, I'm just sitting up here thinking, you know. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
You think girls like to cheat like guys do?
Yeah, he looks like how I look
What makes you
when
say that?
when I
I don't
forget
know.
my line.
I don't know.
Just gonna play it cool.
I'm just thinking.
Don't worry
I don't
about
have
it.
to worry about that.
I'm just gonna play that first section. Can they call it there? Like okay, no lie, they shot this scene. I think it was like 60 times something. This one moment with this water bottle, like this shot was done like 60 times because he couldn't remember his lines. And there's a scene of the disaster artist where the crew are chanting the lines for him. So this moment right here.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hey, Johnny, what's up?
Oh man.
Yeah, that's why he was just screaming it because he was like, "That's I'm just gonna get it."
Oh hi Mark. That costing himself way more money than that one guy looks like Shane.
He
I
does
don't
not
think he
look
looks.
like
He doesn't look like
Jesse,
Shane.
Jesse, you take that back.
You take that
take
back
that
right
back.
now. That is not what Shane. Um. So yes, to answer your question, Tommy is the dream. Like he played the dream role. He is the epitome of acting at its finest. And I hope one day genius enough to encompass that entire character, that energy. Both of us are. Oh, this is a question I've been wanting to ask. Have you considered, because I know you mentioned taking a break from
Mhm.
sort of the tradition is get your headshot, your resume, you go out, you submit, you try to get an agent, a manager, whatever, and then you book jobs. Have you considered instead creating your own content?
I have, and it's still it's that first process, that first step process, um, that is still um like getting that leap to do. Like I have a couple different things that I like and have thought of. Um, I would really, yeah, I want to create my own content because sometimes the more that I see our fellow classmates hustling in LA, it's not a whole lot of like bigger roles that they're getting. It's kind of like all still within the same middle to lower like positions that like acting or model wise.
Mhm.
So f- to get those breakout roles, like you need it kind of seems like work experience. They're like, "Oh, entry level job, you need 10 years of experience or 5 years of experience." And you're like, "Well, I'm just starting out." And I think that's something that it's the the Hollywood industry needs to change its slogan from like everyone can make it here to like only the dedicated can make it here because you're going to be hustling most of the time, and if you make or break it, like that's like it's kind of a crapshoot. um so I think that the glorified Hollywood to me is dead, and the indie making your own kind of deals, that's the part that's going to get um like that's a part that they need
Mhm.
and to build up.
Yeah.
uh, I have a couple ideas of content. I want to do, or at least a general broad overview. I want to do, I think, a children's theater, something would be a lot of great because it's interactive. As you know me, and the people watching who don't know me, um, I'm pretty high energy. I like um, getting audience interaction. I like doing things and having like I said, high energy. So doing that for kids would be a lot of fun, and putting on a show, that they can, learn something. I was part of a project called Rover the Bear.
I was gonna
Got that.
say you did Rover the Bear.
Yeah, and that was a lot of fun, and that really sparked my interest into it. Um, and then after that, I have we have our own, you and I, we have our idea of still gonna do that sci-fi thing at one point in like the boonies, or getting like Utah or Nevada and just doing like a science fiction film, which would be amazing, would be so cool. And then I have another one which is um like an animated thing, um which deals with um and that one's not funny. That one's actually kind of, it's real. It reminds me of Soul. Soul was it's either Disney or Pixar, and it came out last year, and it was essentially like what happens to your soul when you die. But this, I actually I had thought about because of um, a family friend experience. But what happens to someone um, who's in a like? Yeah, I know, Jesse. Disney owns
Jesse
Pixar.
he will always have the info to correct.
I know.
You ready?
I know. um, but they're two different studios. They own it, but two different studios. Um, but so this would be what happens to your consciousness, and this is like what I'm just thinking about. Like, what happens to your consciousness when you go in a coma? Like, that's something that I would find like as like animating it. I think, well, that would be my brother's job, but I think a story that explains that to to people, because no one really knows. Um, so one of our family friends was, was in a coma, and I didn't understand that. You know, I was 27 years old, and I was like, "W- you know, what is that? No one explains these things to you. They're like, oh, this is what it is, and you should just know what it is. Um, and so for me, like for me, I was trying to figure out like what the brain does, because they said, oh, he can, like, this person can still hear everything and is there. But I was also trying to figure out like, okay, what happens, you know?
It's pretty heavy.
Yeah, no, it super is. It's super heavy. Um, but I also think that it can be done in a way that is like the deepness is cut by the light.
Mhm.
And the it could be hilarious at some points, crying at other points. It's, you know, I think that it could do a really good job of explaining to people what something is. It is just like trying to figure out how to do that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean the mind is can be a landscape for a lot of different experiences. So like it sounds like with a project of that nature, the sky's the limit in terms of your creativity. Not
Yeah.
necessarily limited to a particular setting or a time period or even having humans in scenes. It could be like weird machinations, like things that you sort of recognize but don't really. Jesse, when you have a sec, can you send me that picture? I forgot what it was, but it's like you can sort of recognize all of the items in the picture, but you can't tell what they are. That's sort of what came to mind when you were describing this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you can go a lot of different directions. Um, I want to talk about this like closer to when we get to the end. There's some things I want to share regarding the Rome film project forward. Things I'm really excited about that have been developing over the course of the last few months that Shane has been helping me with, and then things that have developed just in the last couple days. So I'll get to that in a bit.
Alex,
I
I know, sorry, I know
Yeah,
this is live. Can I be back in like 2 minutes?
you
Actually,
got it, man. We got a
okay.
break
I know.
screen here just for you.
Yo, really?
Yeah,
Great.
need only ask. We'll be back,
Okay,
guys,
I'll
in
let you know.
2 minutes.
All right, thank you so much.
Got it.
Had to pee.
Oh, no.
I hit the hydrate too many times.
Dude, sometimes I miss those days, but no more. Well, maybe one day allow me to do redemption.
Yeah.
My chat can torture me with. Um. Oh, yeah. So I was going to ask you,
Yeah.
what is your best parkour memory?
Ooh.
I can think of one.
Yeah, if I could think of one.
Yeah.
Um, it was at um what is the the What's the name of the place, Alex?
Tempest.
Tempest, yes. So actually landing, um, like doing an obstacle course essentially and getting through it successfully after like a couple tries and not hurting the balls of my feet
Oh, okay.
because or like actually not, when you get the 2 foot land,
Mm-hmm.
like being solid in that, not
Yeah.
leaning back or forward. um that that was a lot of fun, and just being around Sappy, I know, being around friends to that got me out of my comfort zone to do something new
Yeah.
just was something that just like took it to the next level. Because I mean, in all reality, like I don't there's places around here that I could practice and do stuff, and also at the same time, every time I think about it, I think about the times that we would go and it would just be super fun. So it's always a good memory thinking, that I have, and that I'm like, you know what, I can do, you know?
Yeah. It's one of the, like, when I first started, it was one of the most rewarding feelings to know that I could do like some kind of crazy stuff with my body that most people wouldn't think to do, and definitely would not be feel confident trying. And I think a lot of free runners would appreciate your answer of landing something solid on the balls of your feet. Like
Yeah.
that's a pretty uppity parkour
Yeah.
answer. You were like, why? How is that impressive? He just landed on the ground. Like, look at his form, so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Um,
It's solid.
yeah, dude. Like, those are some of my best memories. I don't train at all like I used to. I just
Hmm.
my interests have shifted in life. I mean, I still once in a while will train.
Hmm.
The only like serious training I'll do is when I'm teaching with students. Sometimes I'll
Gotcha.
get up there and like I'll throw some tricks with them. But going to the gym and getting people who had never trained before to go, like you or Abby, or had like a whole gang that was going. It was really awesome. Sharing those experiences, those progressions was um Jesse went once, I think. I don't think he went more than once, but he was out there, he was learning new vaults, he was pushing himself. Just watching growth happen in real time is super rewarding.
Yeah.
And a really positive memory that I had with you specifically was, um I don't remember exactly why we were filming it, but remember we were doing catwalks on the rails at Long Beach? Like, you know that section where there's like the smoking area? There's
Yeah.
like a diagonal rail, and it was like 5 of us doing this one move.
Yeah.
Like, some people who have never done parkour in their life were there trying this, and I remember seeing your face, the frustration. You're like, I have to. Some people were like, okay, that's a little too advanced, but you were like, I'm gonna get this. I was
Yeah.
like, yes, let's go. Do you remember what that was? Why we were recording that? Because I think we sent it to.
Uh, I think it was for. I think it was for a movement class with him. Like we must have been doing something in which
Yeah,
it needed that.
or it was Elements or something. Dude,
Yeah.
remember Elements?
Yeah, I do. That I remember training for a whole 2 months before we had started.
I'm not gonna lie. I think that training was kind of the highlight. Take it
Oh,
away.
let me tell you, it totally was. I felt more in shape then than the rest of the semester
The
because I
rest of
was
my
like,
life.
exactly. Yeah, no, that was a a really awesome show. It pushed me to do some. It pushed both of us to do something that we had never done before. I think before coming to Cal State Long Beach, I hadn't even heard of like movement theater, acro yoga,
Mm-hmm.
weight sharing, stuff like that. I hadn't heard of that. So to have that be like in my back pocket is super, to me, rewarding, because I'm like, well, now I know I can do it. Um, and I also remember every time I think about the show, I think about what my mom said. So they like, Kit had taken pictures of the show because she did the design, and like she put them up. And then I remember my mom came to see the show, and she was looking at them and she was like, "Oh, that's Shane." And my and then Emily asked, "How do you know that's him?" And she goes, "I know his chunky thighs." He's got, and I didn't hear this until after. And Emily goes, "Yeah, your mom says you got chunky thighs." And I was like, "What?" She was like, "Yeah, that's how I know it was you. I always know." And I was like, "This is what you think? Okay, all right.
If it
I
makes
see
you
how
feel
it is."
better, I never thought you had chunky.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Although, okay, so you remember my wardrobe, my costume for that show?
Yeah, like the kind of like skin colored,
Yeah.
but with the different
Right,
color accents. Yeah.
right. So it was so a shirt's supposed to be worn this way, right? Where it's higher back here and
Mm-hmm.
lower down here, right? Okay. Well, apparently the costume designer liked the pattern on the back better than the pattern on the front. So I had to wear it the entire time with the back in the front, and it's like crawling up here. This was down here. It's like this is not comfortable to move around in. And can we not do this?
Yeah.
And she was like, "Well, let me just try and see if we can." It choked me the entire time.
Oh man,
Yeah, it was
I
not
had no
fun.
idea that that was the thing.
Oh yeah. That was I didn't know it was a thing either until that, and they were like, "Wear this backwards."
Oh.
No.
So to give
So,
some context, guys, Elements was a devised piece that Shane and I were cast in. It was all movement, so there was no dialogue, and very abstract. It's about a story of a boy and a girl and their journey through life, sort of, right?
yeah.
Something like that. But there was a lot of movement. Like I got to take advantage of some of my free running skills, and I mean, it
Mhm.
was fun. Um,
I actually lifted Alex, like do you remember that?
the airplane,
The
so fun.
airplane. I was
Yeah.
just supporting you. That was They were like, "Yeah, yeah, don't worry, Shane, you can do it." And they were like, "It's my first time doing it." And I was like, "I don't know." And they were like, "Yeah, yeah, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it."
Honestly, I think one of the most fun moves in that show was, and it was probably, I don't want to say the riskiest, definitely like the most finesse was when you guys all like lined up and I had to run and jump and the air into your arms, like
Yeah.
into.
That one was nuts. That one, I was super excited every time you did that, because I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, do it, do it, do it."
Yeah, I was so pumped to throw that move. And I mean like it felt like crowd surfing.
Yeah.
Um did I ever tell you that I got the flu on open? Like I was sick as a dog.
No way.
I was awake pretty much the entire night. Like I was already sleep deprived because it's college and like you have classes
Yeah.
going on and other stuff. I was nervous because it was one of my first main stage shows,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, opening night, I was in bed, full on sore throat, sniffling, coughing, the works. And I remember looking at my ceiling and thinking, don't ever get sick again.
It's not worth it.
Yeah, it's not worth it. But we I didn't even like, I wasn't even pretending at that. Like, Cynthia and I are close, and like, dude, I'm sorry. I'm sick.
Yeah.
Like, fine. I want to find the picture of that. So yeah, guys, there's a part in the play where we're make so there's a lot of shapes that we make in it. There's a
Mostly
part.
shape making.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much all shape making. I am essentially controlling an airplane.
Oh, that one. That one, when you were controlling the airplane, that one was fun.
Here we go. Oh. So yeah, dude, this was yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
you
it.
see like all the actors down below like have their arms extended, and there's Shane there at the front. And they're I remember getting lots of notes on this part. Or maybe it wasn't this part, but there was a section where apparently I looked scared all the time. I don't know. I feel like I look pretty excited here.
No, it's like, well, because your feet were on my shoulders,
mm,
pushing back into Cynthia that was holding you up.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
her
that's
and Melvin.
yeah. They're like supporting my the back of my thighs.
Yeah. And they were
Um,
like, yeah, I do remember them saying, don't look scared. And I was just thinking in my head, do you know how far up he is? And there's no mats underneath. Like, it's okay.
So like the conditioning for this show was a lot of fun, but one thing that was pretty crazy was that like everything was devised. So
Yeah.
there was no scripts beforehand. There was no not even like when we were conditioning was there really a plan. Like we got to the first rehearsal and it was like start making shapes.
Yeah.
And see which one we like.
Yeah, it was we're going to we're going to give you a word and see what you come up with.
Was that really was that how it was a word, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like or move through the space like you're in mud or move around
That's
like in
right.
water.
Yep.
And it was like super like some abstract things and then you were into groups and then you were like make an office setting. Like what?
I'm not gonna lie, like that kind of bothered me at first because I was like to me like doing the conditioning was like yeah like we're getting in shape, we're getting super prepped for this thing that I thought there was already, and then I remember being sent a playlist of music like yeah this is
Mhm.
the music, but it was all kind of just inspiration concept that would eventually come to be completely,
Yeah.
because back then I didn't feel like I had any real great ideas of my own. I thought the director would know everything, whatnot.
Oh, so did I. And then
um,
we made something and they were like, no, do it like this. And we are like, oh, you do have an idea.
yeah.
Okay.
I will say I did learn a valuable lesson from now whenever I'm coming up with a concept or if I'm teaching a class and
Mhm.
I tell them to make their own project, they oftentimes will go, oh, I don't know what to do. I can't think of anything. And we're sitting outside and there's like a restaurant behind them and I'll point to the restaurant and I'll say, who's eating at that restaurant right now? They'll kind of like look. I'm like, his name is, they'll say
Mm.
John. Like, cool. John, I'll give you one. John's a musician. What kind of music does he make? And then they'll get it. It's like, oh, just making it up. And
Oh yeah.
maybe it's not very good to start, but it doesn't take long before your ideas start to sound a little cohesive, as long as you're not
Mhm.
too judgy with your.
Oh yeah.
That was a good experience.
Yeah.
So we worked on that. I'm trying to think, what else did we?
Well, we've done that.
Yeah,
We've
for a second I thought you did Big Fish, but you
No,
were doing.
I wanted to do Big Fish.
That's
That
actually
was
when I
my
met
first.
you.
Yeah, so I wanted to do Big Fish, and at the same time, Amy was doing Lungs.
That's
And
right.
so they were like, Amy and Rebecca, they were both directing and they were both friends, and they were like, okay, and I was told like both of them, like I did really well in the Lungs callback, and I did really well in the Big Fish callback.
Yeah.
Um, hold on. Elijah knows Amy?
What?
What?
Uh,
Wait, it might
A-
be a different name.
Amy Ontiveros.
Ontiveros. Yeah. Um, so yeah.
Never mind.
So I did really well in both of them, and I was like, it would be so cool to be in both.
Yeah.
Um, but at the end of the day, Amy picked me up for Lungs, which was a rewarding experience. And also at the same time, I saw Big Fish, and I was like, that's so freaking cool. Like it was just like one of those things where movement theater to me is so much. It's so imaginative because you're not really doing anything except
Mm.
moving. And then were you in no, I think you were studying abroad when Rebecca did Old Man in the
Yes,
Moon or something like
I was awake.
that. Okay. Yeah.
Um, dude, I didn't realize you saw Big Fish.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, I saw Big Fish.
That was the first lead role I've ever had in my life. And I like that was life-changing for me because I had never had confidence that I would ever book anything where I could have that. Like I was having panic attacks because I wasn't doing something that everyone else was doing. Like I had my own choreography and moves. You have no idea. Like you
Yeah.
watched the show where I was like I went from like having no confidence to going, "Oh my gosh, maybe like acting could be a thing for me."
Yeah. No, all it is the first oh, hold up. I just have to Chris just got onto the
Oh, Chris, we're
Blonsky
just
just
talking
got onto the chat.
about Big Fish, man.
I know.
What did Panda say? Come get your friend. He's climbing all over me. What? What are you talking about? Uh, up, broski? What's up, dude? Services. So, right now, Chris is in Kansas City. He
Oh,
just
no
to,
way.
yeah, just to get you caught up real quick. And,
Yeah.
he finished school in Florida. Just finished working as a production assistant on a feature film, Chris's first feature. So,
Awesome.
which took him to Vermont. I if I remember correctly. From the pictures I saw, it was a pretty massive project, so really good experience. Plus,
That's great.
apparently, a 20-hour workday at one point. If you go back and watch one of my videos, you can see like me reacting to him saying that. But he just did that, and now he's currently driving back to California. And I don't know if Jesse's still in chat, but Jesse, he's having canes, so be upset about that. Um, wait, Alex, you were in Big Fish. Yes, I was in Big Fish the musical. Before I forget, um, wait, actually, no, you wouldn't know, Shane. Dang it. So we
What?
had a recording of and
Uh-huh.
the link was broken, and then I've never seen it since.
You've never seen.
The recording of the show. It's like lost in the ether somewhere. Someone has it, or they
Yeah,
deleted it. I don't know, but it. I want to watch it back again so badly,
yeah.
but it's just like it's around out there somewhere. There's a couple pictures of it, but I don't know where the video is. Oh, Nicholas, oh, being a cutie. I'm in St. Louis, Missouri. I'll be in Kansas City in like 5 hours. Oh, okay. I'm gonna be in St. Louis.
Jeez. And that was
20.
in Kansas.
So Chris was saying he worked for 24 hours on set at one point.
That no.
It sounds
Like
illegal on so many levels.
that does. And this is no wonder the productions, like the backstage of every film just went on strike
Yeah.
because that, like, in any way, shape, or form, that's not okay.
Yeah. It's like the world is not gonna. I get it. There's time and money on the line, but your film comes out another month later. Like, are people just not gonna be interested anymore? I just
Yeah.
don't understand why. Like, deadlines are very important, but to the point where people are overworked, and it just sounds like something out of a comedy. You're working
Yeah,
such crazy amounts of time.
I know.
Um, I I have a link to Shrek the Musical that I was in. Please, yeah, forward it to me, Elias. I would love to take a look at it. Of course you think he's cute. He's not harassing you. Well, I mean, Panda, you send me cute videos of him, so of course I am. I'm admiring at arm's length or from a distance. Shouldn't be pronounced indie. Should be pronounced in die. Oh my god. Yeah, pretty much.
That was a rough time. Chris, if you can't, how long were you working on this project for? Because that is a crazy, like, how long it was shooting.
It was like a couple months from the correspond, dude. Like, Chris and I talked for pretty regularly, and then as soon as he started shooting, it was like boom. He was 27 days,
Yeah.
so almost an entire month.
Wow.
It's getting out there and doing the work all right. So I living with the crew in a cabin in the woods of Vermont. Yeah, so they're living on location. Elias, I missed 12-hour tech week. Dude, the best stress in the world. I remember dude, I would hate to be a crew member on a tech week. Dude, like, especially lighting, because they're obviously trying to figure out all the cues and things like that. But the 12-hour tech week. I got 1K for the project. All right, it's a start. These things we're not nearly enough for what I did. No, I understand. Yeah, like this is why we have so many unions and contracts and managers and stuff, is because films are kind of like NFTs. It's the Wild West, and you can negotiate based on what people are willing to pay. So to quickly go back to what you were saying earlier, Shane, about making your own content, I think one of the things that makes you marketable as an actor is not necessarily being incredibly talented at the skill, but fitting a certain like a certain mold for if you are the action guy, or if you are the wise sage and you fit that bill, and you're recognized for that, it makes you, I hate to objectify human beings, but it makes you a hot commodity. It's like, think of I learned this when I worked with Danny Trejo. Is like there are probably 100,000 people that could fulfill that role, but it's because it's him.
Yeah.
Like any. I couldn't have acted that part, but I know people in my life who could have, but they're not him. And his name, his like being that guy is valuable. And I think when we're talking about people reaching the upper echelon of acting, they become a product that the studios want to use. They're a tool to take advantage of. So, if someone is trying to get their foot in the door, then the leverage is not on their side, because let's say like I'm about to book my first feature film. I've never had that opportunity before. I'm really excited about it. I might as well do it for free because they'll get me for free. But if I were Ryan Reynolds and the studio needs me, then I have leverage to negotiate, and that's what it comes down to. It's not like there are minimum costs with a union, but it usually goes well beyond that. And then the reason why I relate that to the NFT space is because the art, like I could list something right now that will sell for probably $20 because no one knows who I am. But if I was, like a notable celebrity, then people are going to be pining or climbing over each other for it. It's not about the art. It's not about how good my drawing was. It was about who I was, and like sort of the association with the name. And it's honestly, it feels the same with acting, quite honestly.
Oh yeah.
Like how they cast people.
Totally agree.
But living on set was the real struggle. You never get a break. Yeah, you probably never felt like you had any. They become a dollar. Yeah, it's like the joke that Jesse and I
really
always
do.
make. It's like you only see me as a dollar sign. So I'm really excited, Shane. Like I've, as you know, you've been involved with some of the script writing for the Rome shorts that have been happening over the past couple weeks. And oh, what's up? Looks like we got a new person in chat. NFTs are the 21st century version of Picasso drawing on an. I was trying to explain this to my students the other day. I'm like, I have two identical guitars. Which one are you gonna pay for? The brand new one or the 1997 signed by Eric Clapton at his umpteenth whatever event? And they all, of course, answered the Eric Clapton, right? It's the same thing. You get it.
Yeah.
Carmen, good evening. How's it going? Oh, it's wow. That's such timing. Such timing, Quinn. Like you literally popped in as I was about to talk about this project. Okay, so Quinn, you guys.
Okay, now I'm excited.
So Quinn.
Now I'm excited.
Quinn.
Hi, Quinn.
Quinn. Yes. Hi, Quinn. Thank you for coming through, by the way, Quinn. It means a lot. Thank you for supporting the stream. Yeah, actually, they did know who Eric Clapton was. That was kind of impressive. So Quinn reached out to me the other day, and just a quick note on that, guys. If you are thinking about reaching out to someone, please do it, because you have no idea what a difference you might make in their life when you do that. Even if it's just to hang out or something. But anyways, Quinn reached out to me, and Quinn is a fantastic filmmaker. Worked on several of their projects, and they're so professionally done. Some of the best projects I've ever worked on as an actor, and Quinn knows how to handle actors on set. So anyways, we meet, and Quinn asks me about my project and tells me that they're interested in directing. And hearing this, I was so excited. I was ecstatic to hear this, because I have a lot of respect for Quinn's work. And so right now we're in the process of getting pre-production set, script finalized, figuring out. Well, I'm losing my voice. Props, costumes. I sent Quinn my like 7th grade level budget. I did my best to put together. So you've read the script, Shane. Yeah. And there are 2 characters in there. There's Akiraman and Godface, which are the 2 shadow characters. So when I wrote the character Godface, I was completely writing you in mind for that. because obviously, like in the fight scene, like you have to be in the fight scene because that's sort of like we would not be here. I can't believe we haven't even talked about But in the End at all.
I
Really,
know.
like we've barely referenced it. But that project, this one right now would not exist if Shane and I hadn't worked on it, and this is our sort of like, I guess, spiritual successor to it. It's an opportunity for Shane, myself, and Quinn to work together and really, really create something beautiful. Um, all right, let me read. I'll come over for soup. I'll be there in approximately 20 hours. Right. Um, so yeah, I'm incredibly excited that this is happening. We're aiming to release our first piece of content in late January. So filming will be taking place throughout the course of like I would say the end of this month or December. It really depends on how we schedule everything out. But one thing to note that is super important is rehearsal, because I've seldom ever worked on a film with a rehearsal, and I think it'll be really awesome for Shane, you and I to meet, and then the other actress who will be playing Akiramon, for us to meet and really flesh out the details of the fight. Obviously, I have an idea in my head how it's all going to be like written on the script, which is hard to explain. Like you already know what it is like to choreograph a fight by yourself. But to actually use a space and come up with that whole sequence, I think will be really exciting. It'll be part of the process of bringing our casting crew together, as it were. Because you know, as like an esports coach, I think meshing with your team is very important.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just excited. I wanted to like officially let you know that you have that role. Like if you would like to play Godface.
Yeah. Uh, but let me just tell you, when I was reading it, I was definitely like, oh man, this sounds like a dope character.
You're like, that's me.
I was like, I would want to be like, that's the guy. And because like uh we did Trap God, you
Yes.
know,
Oh, we haven't even
the
talked about
music.
that.
I know. And that was something that like I've always kept in the back of my, like I still have that I don't know, what do you call it? Like
The
a jacket? Poncho?
it's a
I believe.
poncho. It's a poncho.
Okay. Yeah, so I still have that and I'm like, I definitely think like this might be used at another time. And so when I read that, I was like, I think this might be we might bring it out again. And even if it was just like um if you had decided to take another role with that, I still would have been like, super honored to be in the choreographing process because um it's like choreographing is so fun. And even we'll touch on it a little bit right now, but like choreographing, but in the end, which was our stage combat class final video,
Yeah.
like doing that between us was just so much fun, just thinking about different, this is super sadistic, but like trying to figure out um how to mesh everything, or like how to hurt each other and make it look cool on screen.
Mm-hmm.
So and that rehearsal process of that, because what what I've learned is what might look good on paper is when you do it, it might not look good. Because then you're like, this
X.
is gonna, yeah. Like what we had to do of like, okay, the positionings, like going crisscrossing, know our patterns. Okay, well, if I'm over here, I'm supposed to get you, but my back is to you. So how do I turn?
There's a
And
lot
things
of
like
that.
that.
There's a
There
lot of
is.
that for. Yeah, and like there is so much like fat to cut off, like stuff to flesh out during the rehearsal that you don't want to do on the day of shooting. Like I would have been so wrapped up with figuring out like where the camera was going to be and how the shot was going to look and how the story was going to play out that I don't think I would have been able to focus on how good the fight necessarily would have been. But because we met twice, I think it was twice before shooting, and got everything super solid, it was a non-factor. Just went out
Yeah.
and all the camera had to do was move around us doing our thing. Even better was that the moments that we found to be really kind of like juicy moments in the fight, we just had to execute that one action, and the camera got a close up and made it look so good in editing and post.
Yeah.
So yeah, like rehearsal is very important. We uh, we can schedule that, then I think it'll look. Oh,
Yeah. I think so too.
Elias says, I want to see a fight scene with Shane. Well, you will see a fight scene coming up. But if you want to see one that currently exists, if you look down in the description, I have posted a couple links to some of Shane's pages if you want to check him out. And two projects that we worked on together. One of them being a fight scene. Granted, it was in college, so there are some film mistakes in there you might catch, but it was all part of the learning experience. Rehearsals are so key. Absolutely, space to play. I so happy we're same. I see some of the most successful endeavors out there, and I think it comes from a team of people who all really get it. Like they understand what the aim is, and they all kind of want the same thing. Have really, really. We do have to do a little bit of casting for
Yeah.
one of the other roles, at least for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually last night I wrote another script. It's a lot shorter than the one we have currently, but for like another, this is gonna be continuous thing.
Gotcha.
Shorts and one of the biggest problems I've run into working on student films and web series and things of that sort is we try to bite off way more than we can chew. Production wise, like the
Mm-hmm.
idea sounds really cool, but you just can't do it. So the object of this entire thing is obviously to make good films, but it's also to be able to hone our skills in a conducive way. We're not just out here making real material or writing a scene because we wanted to. No links on YouTube. Okay, I will remedy that in a second. But we're here making a fully fledged project that can get a bit of a rhythm to it because it is sequential, and it's not like not doing a TV show where every episode is going to be like insanely different.
Right.
But I show where every episode. I don't want to hear myself. There are no. Oh, I don't know what. Oh, you know why? It used an old title. So let me update that right now. In the meantime, Shane, maybe you can. I would like to hear you share some of your thoughts on the. It can either be something from Long Beach State or like the last two projects that we worked on, the film one. So I'll let you take that away. I'm just gonna do some quick troubleshooting.
Yeah. Yeah. So like takeaways, Alex?
Yeah, like
Okay.
things that you great experiences that you had on those things you learned or
Okay. Yeah. Um, so things that I learned is um, definitely be flexible and be ready to do any um, job that you're asked within bounds, and it's okay also to say no. Like if you don't know
yeah.
how to do something, like the worst thing that you can it's like lying on your resume that you're proficient in Excel, then all of a sudden you're stuck in a job that all you do is Excel. And you're like, oh fuck, I didn't actually,
Oh, yeah.
you're like, oh man, I didn't actually know what was going on. So I think because that could actually be super detrimental to a production. Like they ask, hey, do you know how do you know how to do a front flip? And, asking someone like me, hey, Shane, do you know how to do a backflip? And I'm like, yeah, I could do a backflip, no problem. But I have actually not done one like standing on the ground. And so, like, what happens if I hurt myself? Then they're like, well, I thought you said that you could do that. Next thing you know, I'm in a hospital. So just saying no, I don't know how to do something, um, is something that I've learned. But something that I really learned, and Quinn touched on it a a little bit in the chat, is like, um, you are completely, like she said, filmmaking is a team sport 100%,
Mhm.
because but in the end there was 4 actors, 3 support, and then 4 support. So there was 8 of us out in the desert in Lancaster, California, which is in the middle of nowhere in like May. So it was getting kind of warm and it was dry, and we all had to pitch in and like hold a shade here or get water for this person, or like it we all had to do different things. And even when we were on location, we all still did rehearsals and we all marked out the fights. We all did our own different things to tell each other, to support everyone as a whole. And and that was something that I really enjoyed, and I really saw us as a team really move forward in that. Because that's something that, when I've always worked with Alex, is very much a team oriented person, and that's how I work. I work as a team. I grew up playing sports, and so team is very much like, if you don't know how to do someone, then you get someone who does, so that way you you both can make elevate that position higher. Something that with but in the end, or some of the films that Alex and I have done, if he goes, oh, it would be super cool if you like did this move, or parkour here, and do it this way. And I was like, I don't actually know. And then he teaches me, well, A, I now know that skill, and B, I can put what he has in his mind out on screen, and therefore it then adds to the story that we are trying to say. So
Yeah.
that's what I got.
I'm flattered to hear that I can do, I can help you in that way. Um, Everything should be fixed, Elias. Thank you for letting me know. Guys, let me know if the title is correct, if links are there. I just changed them right now. And I want to give a real quick thank you to Marco for liking the stream a few seconds ago on Facebook. Appreciate it, man. Hope you're enjoying the content. It means a lot that you guys are coming through. And guys, I love gaming. I love playing video games, but there's something really special about getting to talk to, um, you know, friends, talented individuals, all kinds of folks, and be able to share some of that experience with you. As you all know, the running joke is kind of that I can't remember Jack, but if I bring them on, maybe they'll remember what happened. We've shared some pretty awesome experiences together, and I'm forward to sharing more.
Hmm.
Is there so that's film related stuff. Is there a particular class that you took at Long Beach State, or a technique, or maybe even a show that you did that really stood out to you? Like, oh, okay, like I learned something new about acting I'd never realized before. And it may not necessarily be technical, it could be just how you hold yourself in the room, like in pre production. It could be coming up with an idea, or industry stuff.
Um, my the first play that comes to mind was my last play at Cal State Long Beach. It was The Good Boys and True, And
Oh, I saw that.
yeah, so it was a very, for those of you that don't know, it was very tough. Um, Essentially, all boys school. It dealt with college and legacy and someone coming from money and someone not coming from money. Also, there was uh, s- uh, sexual assault, and it dealt with some very heavy, it also dealt with race. So it was a very heavy play. And the thing I learned from it was to really, as weird as it sounds, is you know your lines as much as you can, and then you throw it away. Because when I knew my lines and I threw them away, I knew that they were in me. Like those words were here. And then when I just like whatever and I listened and reacted, listened, listened to what the other actors were saying on stage, I could react more genuinely. Um, and I felt at that time it was some of the most, in what my regards was, um, professional and fun um, production to be a part of. Not fun because the content was fun, because it wasn't. Um, it was very serious, it was very heavy, but fun in the regards of I got to play with different nuances and I got to get the other actors to react differently because of what the character wanted. Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely a very intense show.
Oh yeah.
Super uh just had the most delectable pork chop with sweet potatoes and chilies ever. And this South African wine is effing strong. Where are you eating at right now, Chris? That
It's in
sounds
St.
really
Louis.
really good. Um
Yeah. It's making me hungry for dinner.
dude, I this is why I love streaming, cuz like we'll be just on, like I'll be going off on a tangent thinking about something, and then I'll just look over at the chat and it'll be like, some car just cut me off right now. Really different. Um, yeah. Trying to think if there's any. I mean, I've asked pretty much like every question that I have. If there is like anything else you want to share, or if anyone in chat wants to ask a question, then feel free. We are here for you guys to. Actually, no, I'm here for me. No. I'm here because I wanted to chat with Shane, and if other people wanted to get involved, then that I'm drowning in a sea of white. What does that mean? What was that
Oh.
thing? Pomegranate looking heart thing. Oh, that's a. I'll let you take that one. Shane.
Um, so
We
the
worked so hard to
pomegranate,
find that. First of all, I just
I
gotta
know.
say.
Yeah, so thanks, Elias. It wasn't a pomegranate. It's called a jackfruit.
Or a
Um,
dragon fruit.
or dragon fruit. Yeah, it was dragon fruit because jackfruits are a lot bigger. So dragon fruit, and yeah, that's what it was called. It definitely did look like a heart, and as it went on, the symbolism was, Alex and I both thought it was like spectacular. It was looking great. And then of course the rest of our classmates were like, "Why is it in there? Why is it getting bruised? Why is it destroyed? Like what's going on?" We were like, they were like, it's not as good as they actually think it is." And we were like, "Yes, it is. Hush your mouth."
I gotta tell you guys something. We every time we watched the film twice in class. We were so proud of that project that we literally like us were in that class? Four of us were in
Yeah.
that group, right? We held hands. Like we straight
Yeah,
up
we
held
did.
hands every time it was, and like I would have my arm on Shane's shoulder, and like someone would have their hand on my knee, and we'd be like shaking watching it because we were so excited to show it. And then we got absolutely roasted.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, I was low key offended. Like
Oh,
I was
same.
so I talked to some other people who weren't in the class. They watched it, and I said, "This is what we were trying to go for. Was that not obvious?" They're like, "Seemed pretty clear cut to me."
Yeah.
So it wasn't, the meaning wasn't lost on everyone. I tried, it was an abstract film, but I tried to make it as simple as possible. I didn't think the concept was that deep, really. Um, uh, Dragon fruit makes for amazing protein in vegan tacos. Yes, let's go. No, I know for sure there is symbolism involved. That's why I'm prying. I genuinely want to know. Oh, thank you. That means a lot, guys. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to go too deep into it because I like it when people come to their own assumptions. But I'll say this: imagine like everybody wants something so badly that in the pursuit of wanting that thing, not only do they destroy each other, but those who are left in the remains in the rebel destroy the thing that they so desperately fought for. That's one way of you could make it political, socioeconomic, whatever you want. I mean, that idea can kind of be extended to a lot of different, but that's my interpretation of it when I made it, or when I wrote the script, because we all made it. We were all part of this project. They were comparing an art film to narrative expectations. Yeah, and and another part of it too. I was thinking about this, Shane. I'm like, why did they roast it so bad?
Because it was
And
so good.
so good. Yeah. Well, I think part of it was to accommodate for the fact that most of the projects were like here. Ours was like, and I don't mean that in like a bad way. It's not like I had anything to do with that. It was just because we had a drone. We had a like all the other films were shot at school. Ours was shot.
Yeah.
We drove out to a desert at what, 7 a.m. Like
Oh,
6,
yeah.
5 a.m. or
It's too
something.
early. That's what it was.
Yeah,
Too
it was like we actually, and like we rehearsed it. I think some of the projects were like, all right, today's the day. Like, let's shoot this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a way to sort of like temper the fact, it's like, okay, maybe my project, and I don't think anyone should feel bad about their project, by the way. Like, you're all learning. Like, I would have made the same thing if it was my first video. I've been in the film program for 4 years at that point, on sets, like learning everything I could learn. So it was definitely an experience advantage. But I think it was like knocking it down so that everything was kind of like equalized. And I'm not a fan of that. Like, if something is good, I will give it praise all day. But maybe I'm delusional and they just genuinely thought it was bad. I don't know.
I don't think so.
Oh. Elias says Shane looks menacing AF in the film. Let's go. Yeah, he sure did. Man.
That's what I was going for.
Yeah.
There's a part in the film that Alex and I both get knocked down, and we're rolling in the dirt. And the thing about it is that where we are, there's like a whole bunch of like little burrs and like little burrs and pricklies from like the seeds of like the plants. Dude, I was finding those in like my laundry for a week. No matter how many times I washed it, no matter how many times I tried to pick the stuff off, they would still be there. And I was like, okay, I can't wear this ever again because it hurts.
That's a good memory right there.
Yeah. No, but honestly, like, it probably hurt a lot more on that day, but afterwards, looking back on it, it was just like, it was a good memory of like, it was good, painful memory. Like, it was a good one to me.
Okay, I had a real Tommy Wiseau moment on that set. Okay, Shane and I choreographed the whole thing. Like I kind of came up with the initial concept and then we would flesh it out together. But
Yeah.
despite the fact that we both worked on it, there towards the end of the day, he was reminding me my moves.
Yeah.
He was like as I'm swinging, he's like left, left. I'm like, oh, this is the part where you react. I'm like, oh.
I remember one time we were like, you knocked me down, and then we both looked at each other and went, I got nothing else. Like it was like, can we just cut because neither of us are remembering these this fight. And then we were like, okay, yeah, let's take a. Then it was super slow,
Yeah.
and then yeah. But I just remember doing that, turning around, being like all angry, looking at the camera, and then going, I don't know
I
what to
don't know
do.
what happens here. Oh man. Quinn, earlier we were watching because Jesse made a reference to Tommy Wiseau in chat. We were watching clips from the room, and to answer, okay, real answer right now. Does that mean Rome is secretly a vampire? I'm not gonna say Rome is a vampire, but I will say that
Yeah, he's not saying Rome is not a vampire.
I'm not saying that either. But the original inspiration from for the costume, it's based on a few different things. But I'm gonna find a very obscure character that probably no one has seen unless they played the Matrix on the original Xbox. Just want to show you guys a picture. There is a specific part of my costume that is totally based on him. Here's his. Nope. Tab. There we go. So he has these strapped boots, right? And I met with the costume designer, Amanda. You know her, Shane, and she was helping me design the like pick out parts for it. And one of the specific things I wanted was the boots have to have straps on them. Like they have to have these specific straps because, to be honest, I don't know if I would have gotten into parkour if it weren't for this guy, because he used to, like, he looks like a vampire and you wouldn't think he knows kung fu, but this dude would straight up kip up off the floor with no hands in these big boots, and I'm like, okay, that's badass. So especially me and my emo self, like being into dark stuff, I was like the perfect synergy. So yeah, this is partial inspiration, and this guy is in fact a vampire. That's why we looked this up. So there are vampires in the Matrix, FYI. You guys are not yo, lore. Yes, that is a super Matrix lore moment. I'm actually a little upset that I wasn't around to play the what's it called? Matrix Online was a thing back in, it was like super lore heavy, and they had nightmare characters. I missed something from Elias a second ago. Oh, he said, dude, let me tell you, if I posted some of the shows I did online, they'd get roasted for sure. But that doesn't take away from my own pride. Good for you, man. Good for you. Yeah, I mean, I have all kinds of little short films and projects that I've worked on throughout the years. I was like, wow, yeah, maybe I'm not going to show that. That one's not going in the resume. You know? So I totally understand how you. Yes, you are thinking of the right Tommy. Oh, hi, Mark. Let's film more combat stuff, guys. That's the plan. I mean, we are 100% filming more combat stuff. I got my certificate in unarmed from SAFD, so I'm official now. So Chris can officially. Does that mean you can officially choreograph it? Well, I imagine you could be in it for sure, but what does that certification extend to exactly? Am I the only fan of the Disaster Artist? I thoroughly enjoy it. No, I'm a huge fan. Huge fan. we all pretending that we don't know rowings. uh, um, yes. How did we get here? Talking about okay. I'm gonna milk this as much as I can. Any specific moments from Trap God that you remember working on? That was a weird project, but it's like I love doing that. So
The going to LA, downtown LA, and like just as the sun's coming up and going to those different locations, being in that underground, um,
such a cool spot.
it was. I'm pretty sure. I think I've driven past it ever since, like a couple times, and I'm like, "That's yep, this is where we filmed. This is where we filmed." I
Yeah,
filmed right
yeah.
down there, and I was like, "Yeah, I know exactly where we are." And Emily would ask me, "So where are we?" And I was like, "Well, we're in LA. Where we filmed." And she goes, "No, no, but like, what street is this?" I was like, "I don't know that. Okay, I know where we filmed." Um, but it was that and just the feeling his like that power, that essence of that just being with with Abby and like the hood and just like the staring off into the distance and like manifesting your own stuff like that's just hearing your description of what you see it as was like that hyped me up.
I'm glad. I feel like sometimes I get a little rambly when it comes to describing things in general, but that's a nice little note to hear that it actually was like encouraging, I guess.
To me it is.
Um, dude, yeah. Every time I see that spot in a commercial, I'm like, that's my spot. We can't, you can't
Get away
film
from
there.
it.
Yeah, get away from there. Um, but yeah, the thing about that project is that it was actually incredibly easy to film, but I think from an actor standpoint, it was kind of just like a model shoot. But
Hmm.
the for me, the vibes were so important, and you could feel that in it. Like as soon as the camera's rolling, your only job is look this way and be there. And
Hmm.
being there sometimes was like, oof, we were there. That when we were walking down the stairs. Also, by the way, I had never been to that busy part of LA that morning, like that early in the morning when no one was there. It was
Oh really?
yeah, it was pretty cool. Like the atmosphere felt completely different. But we were walking down those stairs, the three of us.
Hmm.
I mean, granted, like post production makes such a big difference when it comes to music and the slow mo effect, but being on set is such a great feeling, especially when like you're making the thing. Like it goes back to everything you're saying earlier. Like, and Quinn and I were talking about this that we spend so much time doing everything but what we want to do so that we can do what we want to do. And it's like, why not just do that? Well,
Yeah.
if you ever say to me, look, this project, not really my vibe. It's like, thank you for telling me that because you're being honest.
Yep.
Um, and and if it's something that you genuinely want to be a part of, then it's the reward is not the film. The reward is the experience. Like we're all aiming for something, and being in sync is a very rare sort of moment that happens on sets. I
Oh yeah.
and you know maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like the Trap God, but in the end, like those felt like synced moments.
Yeah. It seemed like everyone knew what they wanted out of it, and everyone was going to do what they could to make it happen,
Yeah,
which was awesome.
and you know me, like I have an idea, but if you think of something and it sounds kind of interesting, I'm like, "All right, let's try that. Go for it." Especially with, if it's not like a hard narrative film, it's a
Yeah.
music video. There's a little bit more room for there's some flexibility for improvisation or adding new images and scenes. Makes the process.
Yeah.
Candace
True. I
says,
agree.
Legion, please come get your internet nephew. He's bullying me with math again. Panda, if he's bullying you with math, I'm afraid I'm not going to be much help, because that's the reason I went into acting, is because I can't do math.
Yeah. Plus, that math is a new kind of math.
Yeah, it's a new kind of math. Um, the Society of American Fight Directors is the official combat organization that sanctions safety protocols and certifies American actors in all forms of stage combat, from unarmed to armed. Got it.
Yeah.
Do you have a, a description for? Oh, it certifies the actors, so it's, I guess, for their participate. Sorry, what were you gonna say, Shane?
So back in 2013, I became certified in 3 different. There was it was a like an intensive
Hmm.
of it was at Cal State Fullerton, and it was intensive of um, short sword, broadsword, and quarterstaff. So I got what was considered like level 1 certified, which just basically means I know the I know the terminology, I know what to do, I know how to be safe. So there's like you need to be certified in all these different weapons, unarmed and armed, and then you can go into the choreography. And then there's different certifications of choreography. And so and that's why I said, like, I don't know, I'm in no way qualified to choreograph stuff. I just know what looks good, and I do know about safety, because that's something that they always bring in, is safety, safety, safety.
Yeah, incredibly, dude. Especially on these sets where they're using blanks and stuff. I mean,
Hmm.
that stuff can be like, even if it is a blank, it can still cause serious injury or be fatal. So that stuff is so important. And
But yeah.
I kind of fall into that same line of thinking. Like, I am by no means an expert in fight choreography of any kind. All I know is that I've seen some movies that have some fight scenes that look kind of cool, and I'm decent at mimicking them. Or I've played some video games with the sort of the same 5 like repetitive finisher moves, and I find them inspiring, and I'll just like use them.
Yeah.
One of the very first projects I worked on was in high school. It was an action film, and there's a scene where like I there's like 2 guys with guns, but I
Hmm.
hit them with like a metal pipe, and the hits that I use are straight out of the mocap for Assassin's Creed 2. That was the inspiration. But I mean, I didn't have any training sort of sense, other than when we did stage combat.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really teach you to be creative. It just teaches you safety and some basic moves.
Right.
Well, we are going on 3 hours right now.
I
This
know.
is
Wow.
this has definitely been like uh I mean, this has been amazing. You have no
Yeah.
idea how awesome this chat has been, and everyone who came through and asked questions and hung out and chat. You guys are the best. It just makes this so much more fun that share this experience. I've been talking to Shane over and over about, like, you have a conversation that's really good, but it's kind of lost in the ether after that point. You know me, I'm gonna forget it. But but now, like, there's a record of it, and it's this amazing thing that we get to share now, that's on, and we can back on. And I haven't gone for 3 hours as far as a interviewer or a podcast, so I appreciate it a lot, Shane. I know you've got stuff going
Yeah.
on, but I want to be respectful of your time.
Thank you.
Um,
No, this was awesome. It, it didn't feel like a podcast. It felt, it was just talking to a friend with
oh,
with other people watching.
with people shouting and screaming at you, it's
Yeah,
Pixar.
exactly.
Tommy, what do you think of Tommy Wiseau? Yeah, I love the chat, dude. Awesome. Um, it's oh, he's still torturing you with math. The Alex Baldwin incident should be a conspiracy that should never. It should be like. Are you saying like it was secretly planned somehow? I mean,
Jeez.
it should never happen on set.
Oh,
Um,
100%.
like there are. Here's the thing. I mean, you spend enough time on enough sets, you understand there are rules and there are regulations.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that everyone is necessarily following. You know, like in order to save time and cost, people cut corners, and you'll hear this very often when it comes to stunt people. They get injured. Like a stunt person who works a lot is injured for something or other.
Yeah.
It's not the safest job in the world. You'd think it's a controlled environment, but it's
Even though that they have pads, even though they have, the wires and they're doing things and throwing across, it still still takes a toll on the body falling down.
yeah, 100%. Definitely. Um, I'm glad you. Awesome. I'm glad you like this style. Yeah, we've got Abby coming on next week. That's gonna be
Sweet.
and I haven't booked Connor yet. Like I haven't set a date, but we talked about it. And yeah, like I find this to be so reinvigorating. Just sitting down and chatting. Some amazing people. Definitely more to come, guys. If you enjoyed the stream, make sure that you put a like, give it a share, maybe if you want to share this with other actors. This is a bit of a change of pace from the normal gaming content. I know not everyone necessarily enjoys gaming content, but there, I imagine there are some actors who probably would like some insight from their contemporaries or fellow actors and would appreciate something like just something to throw on in the background.
Yeah.
Yes, drive safely, Chris. Get back to California safe. I know you've got a bit of a ways to go. Yeah. All right, I am gonna close it out here, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you, Shane. You're awesome. Quick,
Thank you, Alex.
spiritual round of applause for Shane for being an amazing individual. And you will be seeing more from him and myself and from Quinn coming up in the near future. So be on the lookout for that. If you would like to support Shane, make sure you look at the links that I posted down below. Actually, before we close, is there anything in particular that you would like chat to? Any place to potentially direct?
No, just check out those links below, and yeah, I do have an Instagram, but it is of acting, but it is very old and not up to date at all because of COVID and things like that. But no, I appreciate everyone that came out and saw, and I thank you, Alex, for putting this on.
You got it, man. Got it. Okay, everyone, have a good night. I'll see you in the next one. See you, Chris, Carmen, Panda. Bye-bye.